sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's you sending out the energy. Say you're under a transit. Well, let's say a Saturn, which will make you pretty serious or something. And you think, I'm only drawing people to me that aren't a lot of fun. Well, the fact is, you're probably sending out that energy to begin with. So you're attracting that to you. And that's not a negative energy, by the way. You get a lot of work done under a Saturn transit.
Absolutely. That's a very good point about that you can attract the energy to you.
Don't you find the more you study astrology, you lose that opinion that there's one sign better than the other?
Oh, I don't.
I mean, when I first started years and years ago, I used to have signs that were my favorites. Now I absolutely don't have a favorite sign.
I respect them all for what they are, and I understand them for what they are.
And usually, if you like something about somebody that's maybe in a sign that's not this is another interesting aspect. If you're attracted to some guy that you really think is cute or something, and you think, the newspapers say that I'm not compatible, don't even go by that, because the very fact that you're attracted to him, he's even in your life, there will be a matchup in your charts.
Absolutely.
And that's another reason that studying your chart will help you understand what you're like and what you're looking for. It will also caution you on who to be aware of and say, well, I'm really attracted to him, but it brings out something negative in my chart, so do I want that negativity along with him?
Yeah, and you're right. If you are attracted to someone, if you're drawn to someone, their energy, you're also just looking at the sun sign in those columns.
Exactly.
I just had someone email me a few days ago asking me if she had read that she's a Virgo and the guy was a Leo, and she had read that they're not generally compatible and blah blah blah, and she wanted to know if the relationship had a chance. And I had to send her this email saying, how can I tell you if your relationship has a chance when you're basing it on just the teeniest amount of information, and that's the sun sign.
Right.
You don't know how the two of you communicate. That's your Mercury. You don't know how you guys are emotionally relating unless I look at your moons. The attraction, the sex, that's Mars. There's so much more. And to limit yourself with the sun sign is a really big mistake, and that's the fault of sun sign astrology.
Any female listening to us right now would gain from having an astrology knowledge, because if they want to attract a certain guy, all they need to do is look to see where his Venus is and where his Mars is and his moon, and they will know if he's a keeper, especially for themselves.
For them, because I don't think that you could look at someone's astrology and then turn yourself into the woman for that person. Because that's manipulating, and that's not being true to yourself.
That kind of goes back to free will versus destiny. And you have a free will to try to manipulate the situation, because if you learn more about astrology and then you meet a guy and you really like him and you notice that there's some conflicts there, then it's your free will if you want to pursue it, but it may not be your destiny that you fulfill it. And so that's, I think, another example of destiny versus free will when it comes to astrology. But it definitely gives you a tool to really understand a guy. And if a guy really likes you, it's probably because he's attracted to your Venus somehow in his chart. The Venus attracts, and if a guy has got something compatible from his chart with your Venus, he will think you're beautiful.
Right.
Somebody else might not, but he would.
He would. And there's all these little nuggets that people don't realize. It's an onion. There are a lot of layers to it. It's not just the sun. I want to share this amazing quote with you that I got from one of the old original astrologers named Plotinus. And it really explains free will and destiny beautifully, I think. He says, the movements of the stars announce the future for all things, but they do not shape the future. Celestial movements are indications, not causes. What do you think about that?
I think that's great, because I think that a chart, people I think have a vision that astrology can tell you, like you go with psychics, they tell you this, this, and this. Astrology gives you patterns and opportunities and possibilities. It's like you just said, it's not written in stone. So that's where it differs.
Right. they show you the positive or negative trends of energy that offer you the choice of action.
Exactly.
So
although
sometimes you can't control.
Yeah, but we also, as astrologers, say, oh, you know, we kind of contribute to that because we'll say, oh, you've got Uranus crossing your Venus, you know, so there's somebody really exciting coming into your life. I think what it is that it's not that the planet's movements make something happen. I think you move along in your life, things happen, things change, good things, bad things. But what happens is if you know your chart, the planets are going to reflect what's going on in your life, not cause it. Because say when somebody exciting comes into your life, more often than not, the placement of Venus and Uranus, I'll say Uranus because that's the way you say it, Maria, Venus and Uranus, that placement will be in a certain place or position or aspect when that happens, but it's reflecting it. It's not causing it.
Right.
And that's the way that's a new way that I think people that are listening right now should start looking at the planets and looking at the charts. They reflect it. You have the power. Don't ever give your power away to anybody, any reader, any psychic, any medium. It's you. It's what's inside you.
You said that beautifully. Thank you. Now, I'm going to ask you another question about this whole destiny free will thing. What is your opinion on choosing birth time? Do you believe that we chose our birth time?
When I had my radio program, I used to work at a radio station, and I had someone call in, and they were getting a cesarean, and it was their decision when they had the baby.
Right.
I figured, see, what I think is that a baby absolutely chooses when he's born. Mm-hmm. Baby chooses its chart, chooses its birth parents. I mean, everything is chosen. Somewhere when I first started studying astrology or metaphysics, I read the line, all is chosen.
Right.
No, there's no accident, all is chosen, which is hard to believe when you look at your brothers and sisters and your parents. But you really do choose who your parents are and the state of your monetary family when you come into everything is chosen for the development of what your soul chooses to do.
In terms of maximizing your ability to actually
so,
learn the lessons you have chosen to learn.
Right. So I think even if you were to choose a birth time and that baby really didn't want to come in at that time, mm-hmm. Something would happen to delay it.
I agree. I had one child natural and one child C-section. And the C-section child, even though I might have chosen the birthday, it was supposed to be chosen that time. You know, there's
it's kind of like self-fulfillment or something.
Yeah, and I didn't know anything about astrology when she was born, so it's not like I was looking through the chart saying, oh, what a great chart I could have for my daughter. It's just something led me to that date, and it worked out, and the hospital and the doctor said, okay, it'll be this time, and she's born when she's born.
And that also brings you to another aspect of astrology, and that's the rhythm of the universe. Mm-hmm. Because the planets all move at their own separate pacing, and they all move by degrees. It's very mathematical, actually. Astrology is not for the stupid to study. So if you are interested in astrology, don't let anybody condescend to you, because you have to have some kind of intelligence to even study the subject, because it's just so involved. You know that.
It takes a very long time commitment to study astrology the correct way. You definitely can't just study it for 3 months and read a few books at the library and call yourself an astrologer.
No, you
can't. It's responsible to do that. And you have to, if you go into any metaphysical field, I think, you have to have it in your mind that you have a great responsibility to the people that you're serving, because you're guiding them in their life's direction. That's an awesome responsibility. They're looking to you for that guidance.
Yeah.
And for you to take on that responsibility, you better have a pretty good idea of how to give them that guidance with the most integrity.
Yeah, you have to have pure intention. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the more knowledge you're given, and you are given a lot of knowledge with astrology, the higher your responsibility.
Right.
You know, somebody that really doesn't really think in terms of metaphysics and maybe goes out and hurts somebody, they have to pay a price, but not the one who's studying astrology and realizes, like I was talking about before, the higher rhythm of the universe. And if they actually respect it, but then they abuse it, mm-hmm. then their price is higher to pay. There's always a price to pay. There's always karma.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I wanna go back to astrology and specifically talk about how we were saying before how the sun sign astrology is limited. And I always use this analogy of a